A simple grandmother alongside her 8-year-old grandson carefully counts her coins to pay for her groceries at the market. But the impatient attendant begins to humiliate her in front of everyone, hurling cruel words that wound like sharp blades. With each passing second, the weight of her shame becomes more evident in her eyes as she struggles to maintain her dignity in front of her grandson. What no one notices is that, at the back of the queue, a discreet man wearing a black jacket is watching everything with a serious look on his face. And what he does next is so surprising that it will move you deeply. Before we continue, tell us where you're watching from. If you like stories like this, subscribe to the channel because there's more tomorrow. The sun shone brightly in the sky, but a gentle breeze softened the heat as Maria walked with her grandson Lucas towards the supermarket. Their clothes were simple, worn by time but always impeccably clean. Lucas's confident little hand held hers firmly, his 8-year-old eyes sparkling with curiosity and innocence. He admired the shelves full of products he could rarely take home. Maria carefully analyzed each price tag, choosing items with the attention of someone who knows that every decision is crucial. In the trolley, only the essentials: a packet of rice, a carton of milk, and a loaf of bread. Simple things, but they were within the tight budget. While Maria concentrated on her choices, Lucas couldn't hide his excitement as he passed the cookies and sweets aisle. The colorful packaging captured his attention, and his gaze settled on one particular box: chocolate cookies with a blue and white wrapper. Maria's chest tightened at the sight of that familiar box. The memory of her daughter, Helena, came flooding back. It was exactly that cookie that Helena always bought for Lucas. 2 years had passed since a car accident took her daughter's life, leaving Maria with the responsibility of raising her grandson alone. She hadn't had time to mourn the loss because she had to be strong for Lucas. The promise she had made to Helena still echoed in her mind, to take care of Lucas and make sure he had moments of happiness even at the cost of her own well-being. "Grandma, these are the ones Mom used to buy for me. Can we take them?" Lucas asked, his eyes full of anticipation and nostalgia. Maria felt a lump in her throat. The look of happiness on her grandson's face made every sacrifice worthwhile, but she knew the limits of her budget. After a brief moment's hesitation, she picked up the box and gently placed it on the trolley. Helena's voice seemed to echo in her mind, reminding her that keeping Lucas smiling was her most important mission. "Of course, my love," said Maria, with a warm smile that hid her inner worry. The narrator intervened, observing with empathy. Maria was resilient. She lost her daughter, faced financial difficulties, and adapted to a simpler life, but she never allowed Lucas to feel the weight of her worries. Living on a modest pension and limited resources, every trip to the market was a battle between necessity and small moments of joy. With the counted coins in her pocket, Maria cautiously approached the cashier, hoping the money would be enough. As soon as they reached the cashier, Maria carefully placed the few items on the counter. Lucas, excited, held the box of cookies in both hands. "These are the cookies my mother always bought for me," he said, smiling as he looked at his grandmother. On the other side, Bruno, the cashier, looked tired and irritated. He looked at Maria and her small bag of coins, and his expression changed immediately. Letting out an exaggerated sigh, he made a point of showing his impatience to everyone around him. "Coins? Really? This isn't a bank, ma'am," he said, crossing his arms with a harsh tone that increased Maria's discomfort. Visibly nervous, Maria began counting the coins with trembling hands. Lucas, without fully understanding the situation, looked at his grandmother and the cashier, sensing the growing tension. Bruno continued with his insinuations, completely oblivious to the impact of his words. "Couldn't you have said that at home, before coming here and delaying everyone?" She said, shaking her head as she looked at the growing queue behind her. "Everyone? I hope you're comfortable because this is going to take forever." Murmurs broke out among the customers, and Maria felt her face burn with embarrassment. She tried to speed up counting the coins, but her fingers trembled even more under the pressure. "Sorry," she mumbled, almost inaudibly as she continued counting. Bruno let out a sarcastic laugh and made another cruel comment. "Apologies don't pay the bills, ma'am. Next time, bring a card like everyone else." A man in the queue tried to intervene. "Hey, You don't have to talk to her like that. Let her pay at her own pace. But Bruno retorted with a cynical smile. If you want to come and count the coins for her, feel free, buddy. In the meantime, I'll try to keep the line moving. Lucas tugged lightly on Maria's sleeve, noticing her tension. It's okay, Grandma. Don't be sad, he whispered softly. Maria just nodded, trying to keep her composure as she counted the last coins. When she finally finished, she realized that the money wouldn't be enough for everything. Taking a deep breath, she fought back the tears and looked at Lucas, who was still holding the cookies with hope. With a shaky voice, she said, I think we'll leave the cookies, just the other items, please. Lucas, understanding the situation, forced a smile to try and ease the moment. No problem, Grandma. I wasn't even that keen on cookies, he said, trying to hide his disappointment. Lucas's soft voice, full of tenderness, broke Maria's heart. The boy's words were an attempt to protect her, but she knew how much it cost him. Bruno took the packet of cookies with disdain and put it aside with an impatient gesture. Finally, rolling his eyes, he said, Now maybe we can finally finish this queue. He looked at the customers behind Maria and, with a sarcastic smile, added, Thanks for your patience, guys. Not everyone knows how to shop properly. A few muffled laughs echoed around the room while other customers just watched, uncomfortable with the scene. But Bruno didn't stop there. As if he were talking directly to Maria, but clearly wanting everyone to hear, he continued, It would be much easier for everyone if people came more prepared to shop. Maria tried to ignore the comments, concentrating on counting her coins, but her fingers trembled even more. Lucas squeezed her hand tightly, trying to comfort her. Bruno, noticing her reaction, couldn't resist the temptation to give her another pinprick. This isn't charity, ma'am. If you can't afford it, maybe you should think twice before taking things you can't afford. It was at that moment that a tall man, wearing a black jacket and sunglasses, stepped forward in the queue. With a slow movement, he removed his glasses, revealing a serious and determined look. His presence was impossible to ignore. That's enough. His deep voice echoed through the market, and his calm but firm tone silenced everyone around. The customers turned to look at him, and even Bruno seemed to realize that his actions had been witnessed by someone who should not be ignored. Maria tried to finish counting her coins, but Bruno wouldn't stop his provocations. Perhaps it would be easier if she came back another day? When she had real money, he said, glancing at the customers behind him as if he expected laughter or applause. Maria kept her head down without reacting, while Lucas held the packet of cookies tightly. His wide eyes went from Bruno to his grandmother, sensing that something was wrong, but not knowing how to help. Bruno insisted, his voice filled with impatience. Really, ma'am, do you think you have all the time in the world? Other people want to pay. If you can't take everything, maybe you should think before you fill your trolley. The atmosphere became heavy. Some customers murmured, visibly annoyed by Bruno's behavior, while others just watched, not knowing what to do. That's when the man in the black jacket and sunglasses took another step forward. He had been watching everything carefully, his eyes fixed on Bruno. When the cashier made another sarcastic comment, the man finally intervened. You always treat your customers like this, or is today a special day? His voice was deep but calm, each word pronounced with precision. Bruno looked up, surprised by the interruption. And who are you? Her lawyer? He mocked, trying to keep control of the situation. The man slowly removed his sunglasses, revealing a firm, determined look. His presence was imposing, but Bruno still didn't seem to recognize him. No, the man replied firmly. I'm just someone who doesn't tolerate disrespect. The buzz among the customers increased, and some began to realize who was standing in front of them. But Bruno remained oblivious. He rolled his eyes and tried to end the conversation. Look, sir, this is not disrespect. I'm just trying to keep the line moving. This lady is holding everyone up with this pile of coins. The man tilted his head slightly and asked, Do you think respect is optional in your job? She's paying like anyone else. What gives you the right to treat her like that? Bruno hesitated for a moment, but quickly regained his defensive posture. I'm just saying that it's not fair on the other customers. Everyone here is in a hurry. The man gave a slight smile and said, "Fair? What's not fair is making a grandmother and her grandson feel humiliated just because you're in a hurry. Perhaps you should rethink what justice really means." Bruno opened his mouth to reply, but before he could say anything, a murmur echoed through the queue. "Wait, isn't that Jackie Chan?" Bruno's eyes widened, his face turning from arrogance to complete astonishment. "Jackie Chan?" he stammered. Jackie stepped forward, leaning slightly towards Bruno. "That's right, and now you know who's asking you to treat people with dignity." He then looked at Maria and Lucas, his gaze softening. Seeing the cookies in the boy's hands, he smiled gently. "These cookies look delicious. I think they should go home with you today." Maria tried to say something, but emotion stopped her. She just nodded, her eyes watering. Jackie turned to Bruno again and asked, "Cancel this purchase for me. I imagine that would take a long time, right?" Bruno, still stunned, replied hesitantly, "Well, yes, I mean, it depends. It could take a while." Jackie smiled reassuringly. "Too bad. Because we're going to cancel this purchase now." Bruno looked at him confused. "Cancel? But you've just paid." Jackie shrugged. "Yes, I did, but I had a better idea. Let's make a real purchase. Maria and Lucas deserve much more than this. And you, Bruno, can use this time to reflect on how to treat others." Jackie looked at Maria and Lucas with a warm smile. "Let's get another trolley and do some real shopping. I want you to choose everything you really need. And Lucas, you can pick out some toys too." Maria shook her head, her voice trembling with emotion. "Minus, I can't accept this. It's too much." Jackie gently held her hand and said softly, "You've already done so much for him. Now it's my turn to help. Sometimes accepting help is the bravest act we can take." Lucas looked at Maria with a hopeful smile. "Please." Maria took a deep breath, fighting back tears, and finally nodded. "Thank you. From the bottom of my heart." Jackie took a trolley and began to guide them through the aisles. Maria hesitated at each item, but he encouraged her with a reassuring smile. "Take what you need. Don't worry about the price. We'll make sure you and Lucas have what you need for a long time." Lucas, as radiant as he had been for months, pointed out toys and treats with enthusiasm. Jackie laughed and said, "If your grandmother says yes, you go in the trolley." As the trolley filled up, Jackie looked at Bruno one last time and said firmly, "Remember, Bruno, kindness is the only thing that can really change the world. Think about that while you cancel that transaction." The customers watched the scene in silence, many visibly moved and inspired by Jackie's generosity. Maria held his hand tightly, while Lucas hugged the trolley now full of groceries. "Let's pay for all this now," said Jackie, taking over at the cash desk. This time, a new attendant welcomed them with a kind smile. Bruno had been sent to reorganize the stock after what had happened. The new cashier, touched by the scene, quickly completed the purchase. Maria, her eyes watering, took Jackie's arm and said, with a mixture of gratitude and disbelief, "This is too much, Jackie. I'll never be able to repay you for all this." Jackie smiled warmly. "It's not about repaying you. It's about helping when you can. You've already done so much for Lucas. Now it's my turn to repay you." The customers still present began to applaud, and some even shouted words of encouragement. "This is incredible. He's not just a movie star. He's an example of a human being." "Bravo, Jackie." An elderly woman approached Maria, holding her hand affectionately. "My dear, you deserve this. What a lovely gesture he did for you. Take good care of this boy, and remember, you are never alone." Maria thanked him with tears in her eyes, while Lucas looked at Jackie with admiration shining on his face. "Thank you, sir. You're like a real-life hero." Jackie knelt down to meet Lucas's eyes and replied with a sincere smile, "You know, Lucas, the real heroes are those who take care of the people they love like your grandmother does for you every day." As the touching scene unfolded, Bruno, watching from afar, finally mustered the courage to approach, visibly embarrassed. He swallowed and said, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have treated you like that. I was wrong." Jackie looked at him for a moment, but his gaze was not one of judgment, but of understanding. With a calm tone, he said, "You don't need to know someone's history to treat them with respect. Kindness is a choice, Bruno, and we all have the power to make it. Use this moment to be a better person." Bruno bowed his head, clearly touched by Jackie's words, and went back to the stockroom, promising himself that he would change his attitude. Over the next few days, Maria was still trying to process everything that had happened. She and Lucas were at home, organizing the shopping, when the phone rang. The voice on the other end of the line was unmistakable. "Hello, Maria. It's me, Jackie." She almost dropped the phone in surprise. "Jackie? I didn't expect to hear your voice again. I hope everything's all right." "I'm fine, Maria. I called because I wanted to share something with you. I talked to some people and we decided to do more for you and Lucas. I want to fund his education so that he has the best possible opportunities." Maria was silent for a moment, trying to absorb those words. "This is unbelievable. I can't thank you enough." Jackie smiled on the other end of the line. "You don't have to thank me. Just keep being the wonderful grandmother you already are." Meanwhile, Jackie and Maria's story had already taken over the internet. A customer had recorded the moment Jackie intervened in the supermarket, and the video quickly went viral. Thousands of comments flooded social media with messages of hope and inspiration. This is the kind of example the world needs. Jackie Chan is an angel on earth. This reminds me to be kinder every day. Inspired by the impact of the story, the supermarket manager announced a new training program for employees focusing on empathy and respect for the customer. Bruno, the center of all the controversy, volunteered to lead the training, determined to make amends for his mistakes. He knew that the experience had changed him forever. Sometime later, Bruno approached Maria again, this time with real sincerity. "I didn't know what you were going through," he said, his voice full of regret. "I know that's no excuse, but I want you to know that I'm trying to be a better person." Maria looked into his eyes, sensing the humility in his words. With a gentle smile, she accepted the apology, touched by the sincere change. A few weeks passed, and Maria and Lucas were in the park. The boy was running around happily, holding a new soccer ball that he had picked out during an unforgettable trip to the supermarket. His laughter filled the air while Maria watched him sitting on a bench with a smile of deep satisfaction. For the first time in a long time, she felt genuine peace, a feeling she hadn't experienced for years. As she admired Lucas playing, a black car parked nearby. The door opened, and Jackie got out wearing casual clothes, holding a small package in his hands. He walked up to Maria with his characteristic smile. "Hi, Maria. I thought you and Lucas might like this," he said, handing her the package. Curious, Maria opened the package and found some framed photos. They were pictures of her and Lucas smiling in the supermarket on that special day. Next to the photos, there was a simple but powerful message: to remember that kindness always wins. Maria's eyes filled with tears as she hugged Jackie gratefully. "You didn't just change our lives, Jackie. You gave us hope." Jackie smiled tenderly and replied, "You've inspired me as much as I hope I've inspired you. Keep being that amazing person." Maria nodded, feeling her heart overflow with gratitude. As Jackie walked away, Lucas ran up to his grandmother, excitedly holding the ball. "Grandma, did you see that? Mr. Jackie really is incredible." Maria laughed softly, stroking her grandson's hair. "Yes, my darling. And the world needs more people like him." That was the heartwarming story of Maria and Lucas, and how a simple act of kindness on the part of Jackie Chan changed their lives forever. But now I want to know, what did you think of this story? Do you believe that empathy and respect can really change the world? Leave your opinion in the comments. If this story has touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with friends and family who need this inspiration. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories that prove that kindness always wins. Want to continue being inspired? Click on one of the videos that are appearing on your screen now and discover more stories of hope, overcoming, and compassion. See you in the next video.